These are the candidates for Area 5 residential and a candidate for Area 2 business.
My name is Jeffrey Allen Rector, and I am running for the Area 2 business category. And I've served on the Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council. I've served on the Burbank Cultural Arts Commission. And I thank you for tuning in, and I appreciate your support.
My name is Alexis Castaneda, but I also go by Ali, and I am running for Area 5 residential representative.
I'm Stacey Segarra-Bohlinger, and I'm also running for Area 5 residential representative.
If you are elected, what are your main interests? And also, if you are not elected, would you still be interested in joining a committee?
So if I am elected, I would love to work on, creating Sherman Oaks to be a more walkable and pedestrian and active transit safe neighborhood. I mentioned this in my candidate questions, but I think that we can do more in regards to those two aspects. And another thing that we can do is try and, talk to the community about the best way to handle those the homelessness issue that the whole city faces. And if I am not elected, I will still continue to do those things. I am studying urban planning, so I have a lot of ideas. So it would be great to be part of PLUM, the Planning and Land Use Committee. And yeah, so if I'm elected or not elected, I will definitely be part of the community and trying to make our home a little bit better.
I've always served my community, whether it was on a board or a commission or an organization. I find, though, quite honestly, that when I have a vote and I really feel like I can make more of a difference than just being a voice in the auditorium, I honestly feel that that's a much stronger position for me. I always will never stop doing community service, whether I was elected or not. And because of my background, I'm a people person. And as I mentioned before, I've served on outreach committees, and I think that would be a great place for me to start and to reach out and to bring more people from the community to know more about the neighborhood council, bring more issues to the council that need to be addressed or maybe have been unheard up until this point. So I'm all about community service, no matter which way this goes, but I certainly think that I would serve better as a voting member.
So my main priorities, if I'm elected, are one, getting litter and pet waste off of the streets. As beautiful as our community is, I think that's a big problem we have, is litter and pet waste. And the solution can be so simple, and it could make such a difference in our community. Much like Alexis, I also want to improve and maintain our pedestrian infrastructure. I think Sherman Oaks is among the most walkable neighborhoods in LA County, and I really want to improve and build on that and make this community a place where people come and leave their cars home and walk places. I think that's a really exciting prospect for our future. And my other main thing is empowering renters to understand and assert their rights. There are a lot of renters in our community who get taken advantage of, who don't understand what their rights are, and I want to change that. And if I'm not elected, I still plan to attend Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council meetings. I think the Traffic and Transportation Committee would be of interest to me, but just attending the meetings in general and having my commentary heard, I definitely would still participate. Thank you so much.
Prior to starting the process for candidacy with SONC, have you attended any monthly meetings for SONC or any of the subcommittee meetings? If not, what prompted you to join the board?
I would read up a lot on minutes from SONC meetings previously. Actually, prior to COVID shutdowns, I was working a lot, and that prevented me from showing up to meetings and being engaged in the way I wanted to. I would often RSVP for events and write them on my schedule and then get called into work or not be able to get the time off. So what really not only prompted me to run, but actually gave me the ability to run is the opportunity of free time that COVID shutdowns afforded me when I was furloughed from my minimum wage restaurant job. So I think that that just goes to show what a huge barrier low wages and overworking our working class does to our local civics. And I think that's something that needs to be addressed, because we shouldn't need a local pandemic to give people a chance, or a global pandemic rather, to give folks a chance to get involved. I've always wanted to get involved. I finally have the time now. So there's that.
I am a workaholic. I probably shouldn't admit that, but I am. I do a lot of different businesses, and I'm a very busy person. I was aware that the meetings are at the Millikan School, and when the schools closed down, it was kind of out of sight, out of mind, knowing that there wouldn't be those live meetings. But I received an email from the Los Angeles City Council saying that these elections were coming up. I looked in my area. I saw that there was a space in my area, and I said, you know what, now's the time. I believe there are no coincidences. And so I said, you know what, this is a calling. I see that this is possible, and I will make my time, because I feel strongly about it, and want to make this happen and be part of the council.
Great question. So before moving to Sherman Oaks, I was a part of Mar Vista, and not part of the neighborhood council, but I attended several meetings, and I realized that this was something that I wanted to do, but I wanted to do it in my community that I wanted to call home. And I knew that Mar Vista, well, a beautiful neighborhood, it wasn't the place that I was going to call home. And once I moved to Sherman Oaks, I realized, like, this is the place that I want to raise my family, and where I really want to, improve my community. And this just gave myself, like, it was a great opportunity, and I decided to just go for it.
Imagine in a world where we actually have access to 30,000 emails, okay? And I'm not talking about using Nextdoor as a resource, okay? We have access to 30,000 emails. How do we reach people to a certain and personal degree? What would be your plan on not only addressing their area, but getting them to submit a public comment that would be going through an automated system, but still getting a personal response?
I honestly believe that reaching out to churches and groups with a questionnaire, a personal questionnaire that I would create, is different than just going to 30,000 people and saying, hey, look what we're doing. Are you interested? It'd be a person-to-person request. People say, wow, this guy really seems like he's interested. And he really, he's reaching out to me personally. I think that's much stronger than a generic email that goes out to 30,000 people.
I think what my answer comes down to is we just have to make it easy. Right now, as I see it, the biggest hurdle people are dealing with when it comes to getting involved, and even just the simple task of voting, is that it's difficult. And Jeff has been lamenting this in recent meetings about our ballot requesting procedure. And I think we just need to make it appealing and make it simple, make it something easy that people can do from their home, in their email, or right next door to where they live.
Yeah, I agree. I think accessibility is everything. And whether that be we ramp up our technology and make it into a form, or just doing simple outreach through our community, through our businesses and organizations and stuff like that, it would be incredibly beneficial if we had that opportunity. And I would definitely be a part of the initiative to ramp up the technology aspect of it.
LA is growing. Housing is a big issue. Would you support increased density of housing in Sherman Oaks if it would help support low income and workforce income housing?
I'm an urban planner, and we love our increased density and mixed use planning. Yeah, I think that increasing density would be great to help solve the the housing crisis that LA faces. However, I do understand that that's not a common or a very popular belief among a lot of people, and I want to make sure that I'm a representative of the people and of the constituents. So I would just, before I have my own personal opinion on it, I would want to ensure that I reach out to my community first.
I think if increasing density also increased affordability, then downtown LA and Manhattan would probably be the most affordable places to live in the United States, but we know they're not. I see no correlation to increasing density with increasing affordability. So if that evidence existed, I would love to take a look at it. But as I see it, what we need to increase are housing stability, better wages, good jobs, and providing a community that people can live long-term and raise families.
It's a double-edged sword. I mean, I'm all for, affordable housing, but then the other side of that is that we don't have enough parking as it is. Where are those parking people going to park? The added people of tearing down a house and building up a condo, where all of a sudden you've got, 20 times the amount of people now on the street. It increases traffic, it increases congestion. That can lead to a series of a bunch of other problems.
Let me do a quick follow-up on that, which is, Ali mentioned, well, if it could work, but it's not popular. So what happens when you're representing not only your initial, your neighborhood, if you will, but also the Sherman Oaks area, and in your heart of hearts, or in your experience, the answer is yes, but your constituents, or all the constituents you hear, because they don't like it, say no. Do you have the courage to speak to the correct answer, or the answer that should be made for the benefit of the community long term?
It's a good thing this is a volunteer position and we're not getting paid. So I can make the decision that I feel good about without worrying about, losing my job if it's not what the constituents want. I'm a free thinker. I'm an individual, and I don't vote with the masses. I look at every situation differently and individually, and I make a decision in my own mind based upon the facts that I know them and understand them, regardless of what the popular vote or response might be in that case.
If my interest wasn't in serving the constituents and hearing them out and working on their behalf and being a voice for them, I don't know what business I would have in government. I think that is the main function of government, is to be a voice for the people and to speak on behalf of the constituents. And as much as I would like to look into my heart of hearts and feel how I feel about issues and act on that, that's not the job of government. Our job is to be objective, be critical of ourselves and one another, and listen to our constituents. And that's really what it comes down to.
The first thing that I would ask myself is, why do I believe that this is the correct answer? And why do they believe that they're correct in their thinking? And really address like the differences that we are having between, my beliefs and the constituents' beliefs. I think that would be the first step that I would take, because I want to make sure that I'm listening and also speaking on their behalf, and making sure that voice is aligned.
Probably at the top of the list often, if not always, is traffic in Sherman Oaks. And that's sort of a result of us being the funnel from getting almost any place in the valley to the west side. So what kinds of adjustments would you make in parking, street use, traffic, whatever, to try to address the needs of basically transportation, but also the quietude or the quality of life in Sherman Oaks?
I think incentivizing and providing a safe means to walk, to forego our cars to use public transportation and to walk would have a huge impact on the implications of traffic and parking. I think more park and rides. They have a couple up by Universal City to get to the park, but if there were just in general more places that it was cheap and easy to leave your car to go walk somewhere, or leave your car and then get on public transportation that's efficient and well routed, I think that would help a lot.
This is a larger Los Angeles issue. LA is very car dependent, and it's difficult because if you decentivize cars, then you're possibly, reducing the job opportunities that people have. So it would be a long process that would require multiple solutions and no right answer. But I believe that one way that we can help mitigate those issues is through, encouraging those local and active transit.
It's a big issue, and it's has been mentioned. It's a Los Angeles issue. It's not just a Sherman Oaks issue, and to really make any kind of comment on that, I would have to see what the Sherman Oaks transportation plan is to see, hey, what can we change? What can we do? It's not something you can just snap your fingers and change. People want to get to where they're going, and maybe, as Stacey said, maybe some sort of incentive to get people to carpool more. But I don't think trying to get people from driving to going on a bus is gonna happen.
One of my many hats, I own a small business, and a lot of the candidates are talking about how they want to support the rebuild of the economy. What are you currently doing right now in this non-moment to support the Sherman Oaks businesses?
I'm so glad you brought up small business, Sarah. And I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for running a small business in our community, because I feel like small businesses are what make Sherman Oaks so special. I absolutely go out of my way to make sure I'm patronizing small local businesses, whether it's the smoothie shop across the street, or like I was mentioning at the start of this meeting, Rumi Cafe, Santino's Pizza, The Great Greek. There are so many great small businesses and local options in Sherman Oaks, and it's one of my favorite things. I think encouraging those local businesses and preventing chains from infiltrating.
Well, I'm spending money. That's how I'm supporting the local businesses. No one was more excited than me, even if it was to take out, to get the food and get some money back into the Sherman Oaks businesses. I love to cook. I love Trader Joe's. I love Ralph's. I buy a bunch of food. It could last me a month. But at this time, I'm going out and I'm spending money, and I'm going into the restaurants. Before it was takeout. Now they're open. I'm letting them see my face and let them know that I'm a local that's supporting their business, and I'm happy to see that they're back in business, and I'm here in my small way to help out.
Yeah, as much as I can, to the extent that I'm able to, I'm trying to support local businesses as well. The Oaks Tavern is one of a local bar that's opened, and they were able to open because they were able to get food. And I thought that was just an amazing, compliment to their drinks and stuff. And I just think that it's great to see those. So it's those, Ventura Boulevard and things like that, start to come back to life. And to the extent I can, I want to support as many local businesses.
One of the questions that has come up is the placement of a shelter and or a organization within Sherman Oaks to help those that are homeless. If such a shelter were to be proposed, would you support it or not, and why?
I would absolutely support it. I think it can be dangerous for people to be living on the streets and to be open to other homeless individuals that that maybe are stronger than they are. If there's a safe haven with a warm meal and a roof over their head, that also could maybe try and find out what their issues are, whether it's mental or simply just being able to get a job and get on their feet. I've supported the Frontline Foundation, which feeds the homeless on Skid Row for 20 years now.
If I remember correctly, the life expectancy of someone experiencing homelessness is around the age of 48, if not less. And that's telling. That's important to, realize that life is cut short when we're experiencing homelessness. And I personally would be in favor, as a not just private resident, would be in favor of such a thing. And I would want to make sure that I inform the community to the extent that they also feel as motivated to support such a building.
100% absolutely. I think we need a shelter in our community, or we need a program that gets people experiencing homelessness into the myriad of empty units that are in buildings. I think that the solution to homelessness is homes. We have officials in our state government spending exorbitant amount, just a lot of money building these tiny home villages. And I don't think it needs to cost that much. I don't think it needs to be that complicated. And the unhoused residents are also residents. And as a residential representative, it would be my duty to work on their behalf as well.
We have been looking for a chair for our animal welfare committee. Is that anybody here interested in maybe something along those lines?
I love animals. So of course that would be something that I would hear about and listen to and bring it to consideration. Yeah.
I have no pets, so I'm probably not the right guy for that particular chair, but I'm sure there's other chairs that I would love to sit on and be helpful.
Actually, my husband and I have a dream of running our own cat sanctuary someday. So that is absolutely something of interest of me. And I love that that's even a thing that I could be a part of. So absolutely, yes.
If you want to make a simple concluding remark, up to a minute in length.
I just want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight, that took their time out of their busy schedule and cared enough to look at this election process in their city, and to offer up questions or at least lend an ear to see what the candidates had to say and be more informed about this voting process. And I'm quite honored to even be in the running for this. And I continue to commend the neighborhood council on all the work that they've been doing and will continue to do in the future.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all the thoughtful questions. I think that I have a lot of hope for our community. I also wanted to thank Alexis for being such a wonderful opponent. I feel like our interests are so aligned, and it gives me so much hope because I know regardless of who wins, that the position will be in good hands. And whether you win, whether I win, I look forward to working with you in the future to solve our neighborhood's issues.
Stacey, the feeling is mutual, and I would love to have a chance to, just talk to you as a neighbor, being in Area 5, it'd be great. Yes, thank you everybody for the great questions. And those of you that listened in, I really appreciate you sticking around. And I really hope that you guys tell your neighbors about, the election and, how fun hopefully this was for you guys to hear and listen to, and kind of maybe try and convince a few other people to come by next time. But I am so looking forward to speaking to all of you guys again, and I hope to see you all soon.
I hope everyone who is here this evening, and the recording that will make it up onto our website, they'll use this recording to help educate themselves, as well as other candidate forums that we're going to be having the next 3 Fridays. It's really going to be hard to vote. and it's difficult. So please take your time, go to the city clerk's website. If you go to the voter guide, it'll tell you where that is, how to connect, what's required, and do it early because you have to apply by May 4th for your ballot, and it has to be mailed by May 11th.